different buyer and seller pipelines. We're going to reduce this down on everybody so that you each just have a buyer pipeline and a seller pipeline. Because I found that it makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of dig through all of your pipelines and your stages and see where every single lead is if you have to keep track of 15 different pipelines. So we're going to reduce this down to just a buyer and a seller pipeline for you guys, so that you're only going to have two different options, either a buyer or seller. So that's going to be, that's just going to save some confusion and also be time saving for everybody for what they need to do. Now we've got two different versions. William created a version, I've created a version as well. And then we're going to kind of put these two head to head and decide which one we're going to actually launch to the clients. So William and I will be doing a little competition amongst ourselves, which I think is always awesome. So we will go ahead and get a new pipeline sent out to you guys. So it's just a buyer and a seller pipeline, and we'll remove all of the additionals so that you guys don't have to worry about all of the extras that are in here. Now, when you guys have a lead that comes in from listings to leads, let's go ahead and Dustin, do you mind if I use your account for example?
No, that works out great for me.
Awesome. So if we go into Dustin's account under settings and we go to the Facebook form fields mapping, you can see that we have this first field or this first form that is mapped. We have the little check mark that shows that it's mapped, and we don't have the field map fields button. So the one thing that we're going to need to do is, let's just say this particular form from June 16th, there's probably no ads that are running on that right now, but let's just say that there were. So the first thing we want to do is click into map the fields. So after you've completed an ad on listings leads, the next step would be to jump into Facebook forms field mapping and leads to ROI and make sure that we map all of the appropriate fields. Now, if it's full name, phone number, email, in most cases, those fields are automatically going to map. But if you're asking additional questions from those forms, like what is your time frame to move into your new home, you're going to want to click the drop down and select that appropriate, you're going to want to click the drop down, select that appropriate field so that you can match that field. So you go down and we would find, let's just see, what is your purchase time frame? So we'd select what is your purchase time frame, and then that would map up their time frame to buy into the CRM. So once all appropriate fields are mapped, we need to hit save. So we're going to also be adding one additional thing into this for everybody by end of day today, which is going to be a workflow where you'll simply be able to go into the buyer workflow and you will be able to actually add in, you'll be able to add in the trigger directly from the workflow. Now, it is going to be based off of this campaign, the BKAA buyer lead workflow, but we have a bunch of additional steps that are set up in here. So it assigns the contact to you, and then it just makes sure that everything's set up properly. It plugs that lead into that new buyer pipeline stage that we're going to be doing. So from the new workflows that you guys are going to be getting, everybody's going to get today, if you wanted to add this new lead that just came in from the Facebook form to this particular workflow, what we're going to do is say add new workflow trigger. And instead of coming from CRM here, we're actually going to click the drop down and select from Facebook. Once we've done that, we would go ahead and say lead form submitted. And now I'm going to add an additional filter. From this, I'm going to say in form because we want this to come from a specific form. This is very important if you guys have seller ads that are out there and buyer ads that are out there. We want to make sure that those seller ads are going to a seller follow-up and that the buyer ads, those leads are going to a buyer follow-up. So I'm going to say in form, and then I'm going to select this one from June 16th, the one that we just mapped the fields on. Now, Dustin, you don't have any ads that are running outside of what we're doing, right, on Facebook?
No, sir.
Okay, cool. So this is just going to be a placeholder, just to show you guys what we'll have to do. And then all you're going to have to do is click save. So it's going to be that simple. Once you've saved that, we're just going to hit save in the top right corner. And then it's going to save that workflow so that you now have that new lead that got submitted from Facebook that you created on listings leads. That new lead will now trigger and will be a part of this particular campaign. So if anyone goes through and submits that form that we send out every 2 weeks, requesting to have an ad built or created, that particular form, we will go ahead and take the precautions and make sure that this is all set up for you guys on our end. But this is for if you guys are doing listings to leads on your own and you're going in and creating those particular ads. So the first step is always going to be to go ahead and edit and make sure that that Facebook form is completed and that we have all the necessary fields from the Facebook form mapping field. So that is going to be our first step. Second step is either going to be stepping into a workflow or into a trigger. Now, these two different things work very similarly. The workflow combines triggers and campaigns. And so for me, I just feel it's a lot easier to wrap your head around and learn how to use it, because you can create an unlimited number of triggers in a workflow for what is going to create that specific action. Now, when we first started with our CRM, it took me a little while to wrap my head around our opportunities and our pipelines, our campaigns, and then our triggers. So the workflows was a way to put the campaigns and triggers into one place so that it can be simplified. But we still do have the ability to go in and check out the triggers that are on here for what is actually going to complete that action. So I want to show this just so that if you are more comfortable or you've already started using the triggers, and this is the path that you want to go down because you already know a little bit about how to do it, I want to make sure that I can show both ways in the system of how to complete this task. So if we wanted to create a new trigger off of this so that we can launch a campaign from that particular Facebook form, what we would do is in the top right corner, we would go ahead and click add triggers. And so I'm just going to name this Facebook lead.
Brian, why don't you just
June.
select the trigger that's already pre-built in there?
Which trigger do you have that's pre-built, William?
Listings deletes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can go into the listings leads. The only thing on this, so we do already have a Facebook form that's submitted on here. What I would do in this event, so with the trigger, we can't add a new trigger to a trigger. So what we would actually do is go ahead and duplicate the existing listings to leads trigger that you guys already have in place. And I have several locations. I have access to everybody's account. So you guys will have a location here. You'll just have to select your own account from the dropdown, which is the only thing that will be available to you. So you'll see at the bottom, outside of all of the folders, we do have the listings to leads copy that is now here and available. So what I'm going to do is move this into the listings to leads folder. So I'm going to show how to do this two ways. We're going to do it by copying the listings to leads trigger, and then we're going to build one from scratch just so that I can make sure that you guys get the best understanding of how these works. So the only difference on this one is that we're going to go ahead and update the form. So the form that we're updating is to that June 16th. So I'm going to add June 16th here because that is the designator on here that I'm just remembering. So June 16th, 2020 is when this was done. We would then just move this into active and save. So the left side of this trigger is going to be what actually triggers the action to take place. So first and foremost, we've got the same thing. You can select leads to ROI or Facebook. Once you've selected Facebook, our option is going to be that Facebook form, lead form submitted. Once we've done that, we're going to define a filter, do in form, select the form. And then the first action that we have on the right side is to add Dustin as the user to this particular contact that just came in. The next step is going to be to send a text message out to Dustin, letting him know that he's received a new lead. It's going to provide the contact name, the contact phone number, and the contact email. Now, this particular lead that was coming in from Facebook, I believe that it was just full name and email is what was requested. If the phone number doesn't come through or there isn't a number that comes through, this will just be blank and we'll just have a series of
Just wait it
commas.
for what? Hold on a minute. Let me.
So the next thing that we're looking
It's
at
okay.
is,
I've got two formulas right now. You can bring it later or you can run to Publix and get something, whatever you want to do. But I've got two bottles of it and I got some.
I got
Thanks, Lou. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do, so we are going to perform another action, and the next action that we're going to perform in this step is to add them to a campaign, and we're gonna add them to the BKA buyer lead campaign. And then follow up, or finally, the last thing that we're going to do is add a contact to this. So now I'm going to show you guys how to build this exact same campaign, or this exact same trigger from scratch. And I'm just going to get myself back into Dustin's account into triggers so that I can just walk you through that. And triggers, here we go. So now if we wanted to build this exact thing from scratch, I'm just going to move this to the right side of my second screen where you guys can't see it. What we're going to do is actually click add trigger at the top here. And I'm going to call this June 16th. And then Dustin, we'll go back and we'll delete these so that we don't have anything that's extra in your account. So right from here, you can actually choose what folder you want that trigger to go into. And so we want to make sure that you have everything extremely organized. So we do have a listings to leads folder that's ready for you. So if you're creating a trigger for listings to leads, go ahead, put it in the listings to leads folder so that way we can just make sure that everything's organized and it's easy for you to find it. Now, the default option is going to be actions from leads to ROI. So it's like if someone was added to a campaign, if there was an appointment that was booked, a birthday reminder, any of those kinds of things, a form submitted, there's all sorts of stuff that you can trigger from inside of leads to ROI. But we're going to go ahead and click this drop down and select Facebook. So once we've selected Facebook, you're going to see that this drop down is only going to give us one option, Facebook lead form submitted. And this runs when a lead submits your Facebook form. So now we're going to click this add filter. If we do not click add filter, this action will be performed on every single Facebook lead that you get. So we want to make sure that we designate whether it's a buyer or a seller, and if we're running different campaign types. So if you're running, say, a down payment assistance ad, we want to make sure that they go into the down payment assistance follow-up instead of going into just a generic buyer follow-up, because those down payment assistance folks, we want to make sure that we're delivering the correct message to them as that lead comes in. So under the define filters, we're going to add a filter and we're going to drop down. And we're going to say in form. So this is signifying a specific form from Facebook. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is select the form that we're going to use. And on the right side of the screen, we're going to add an action. Now, the first action that we originally had, and this is a great one to make sure that you have every time, is going to be assign to user. So then from that drop down, once we click assign to user, we're just going to go ahead and click this drop down and select Dustin. Next, we will go ahead and add an action. Now, the next action that we had was to send an SMS. So if we scroll down, we'll find send SMS right here. And under this too, what I always do is I just go to here. You can always enter your own phone number here, of course. But for us, we want to make sure that it's something that works for everybody and on everyone's account. So I just go into the custom values section, go to user, and then I go down and select user phone right here. And then you can see we have user phone. So I'm just going to copy and paste that in right there. Now, we do have a message that goes out. I'm actually going to copy and paste this message from the other screen that I have. So you've just received a new lead from leads to ROI, contact name, contact phone, contact email. So this form just had the name and email. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this as contact name and email so that it matches up what we were looking at on the other screen. Then we can go ahead and add another action. And from there, we're going to click the drop down and we will then say add contact tag. So the contact tag that we are adding onto this is lead in to signify that this was a brand new lead. Now on the update that I'm going to be pushing live to everybody as well, we are going to have buyer lead in and seller lead in. So that way we can designate the difference between a buyer and a seller just at a fast glance when going through that contact list. The next step that we would do here is we would actually activate this and save it. So now as soon as we have a Facebook lead that comes in from this form, it is going to assign to Dustin. It's going to send a text message out letting him know that he just got a new contact. And then it's going to add those tags. Actually, there was one step that I missed. So the last step that I did miss is going to be add to campaign. And then we will click the drop down and we'll select the campaign that we're going to be adding that to. So let's go ahead and hit save. So that's how you would perform creating your own trigger from start to finish. So from what you guys are seeing right now, do you feel that the workflows is going to be the path? And if we can get a raise of hands or just say workflows or triggers in the chat, what do you guys think that you're going to be more comfortable using, either workflows or triggers?
I'm gonna go with the workflow.
I'm going with work. I'm
Also,
going with
keep,
workflow.
keep in mind that the long-winded build Brian just did will already be pre-built for you.
Oh, okay.
It
You're
will be, but the workflow is going to be one step. You go into the workflow,
The same
you click
exact.
the trigger, and we just select the trigger itself.
It's the same exact step.
Well, not necessarily. It's a little
You
different.
have to select the trigger, then you have to select the lead form, right?
It does remove duplicating an actual trigger though. So the first step, if we were to do it from the way that it's currently set up, we would have to duplicate that trigger, then select the form. With this, we can keep one workflow alive, and then we can jump in and we can just add a trigger as needed, select the form, click save, and we're done. So-
Guys, I'm going with the easiest way possible. I want
Yeah.
plug and play.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So I will make sure that we have a new workflow that's going to be loaded in for everybody today. It's instead of saying workflow from, it's just going to say BKA a dot with the parenthesis and then buyer lead. So you guys will be able to jump in and knock that out on each one of those. And let me actually just pull it up so I can show you what it looks like before we load it into everybody's account. So from the actual workflows, we have that BKA buyer lead in. If we click in here, you're going to see that the very first step on this is going to be a created opportunity. So this is going to move them into a buyer pipeline. So as you can see, we have a buyer pipeline and a seller pipeline. So there's only two options. So the lead is going to move into the pipeline, which is going to create an opportunity on your dashboard so that you can see that contact. The next step is going to be adding that tag. And this is actually going to be buyer lead in. So I do have one more edit that I need to do to this before I push it live. We're then going to add the note for your call script. So that will automatically be logged into the system and you'll have your call script in your notes right out of the gate for all of your leads that come in from listings to leads. It's going to send an internal notification in the form of a text message to you, letting you know that you have a new buyer lead with their contact information. And then we have a slight wait period of 2 minutes so that we can reach out and call that lead. The reason that we did this, we want you all to know that we're paying attention and we're doing our best to listen. Speed to lead is extremely important. Dustin had let us know that when he was getting that phone call from the system and pushing to connect with the contact, he was getting on the phone with them before they even had an opportunity to look at a property. They had just submitted the form and they were getting called immediately. So we added a 2-minute buffer in there. Do you guys feel that 2 minutes is enough or should we make it a 5-minute buffer just based off of those that have been working these leads right out of the gate?
I think 2 minutes is a good starting point.
Awesome. If we find out that 2 minutes, we're still not getting them at that right time, we can always jump back in and we can edit this for you guys and push it out a little bit longer. Now, we've also added a couple of additional things into this workflow as well. So we want to make sure that this only goes out during specific times. So we've seen that some of the campaigns that have gone out, these weren't set on them. And so some emails went out around, just say 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's not something that we really want to do. So we made sure that we've set the parameters Saturday through Sunday on this, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that way we aren't sending anything too early and we aren't sending anything too late. So you guys will have time parameters on these as well. And I've also got a seller campaign that we're going to be loading into. So there's 2 separate seller campaigns that we are going to load in. One was a year-long email drip. And so you can see we have the opportunity, the tag, the note that gets added for the seller's call script. And then we have the internal notification that goes out as well. And a 2-minute window to wait before we send our first email. So this is a year-long email campaign. So we want all sellers to get put on a year-long email campaign drip. And then we also have, and this should already be preloaded into everybody's account, the seller appointment booking workflow. So we'll go ahead and go into the settings on this. We'll update the specific times so that we don't get anyone in trouble as to when this is going to go out. So we'll go ahead and push this to 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that way we don't go over. Save. And then I'll actually just show you guys how we add in all of those actions in case anybody wants to jump in and create their own workflows. These are pretty simplistic as far as how they work. Anytime you add an action, you have a plus or a minus above or below that action. I wish you could drag and drop these, but our developers haven't worked that out yet. But down the road, you're going to be able to take like this Eliza appointment booking bot, you'd be able to drag it down to a different step or placement in the workflow. But for right now, the dev team hasn't figured that out yet. So they're working on it. And I don't have a timeline for when that's going to be done because we have a ton of other things that are on the books that we're working to get added in as we speak. So all we have to do is click this little plus to add an action. So the first thing that I'm going to do on here is click assign to user. Now I'm not actually going to save a specific user on here because this is going to be one that's going to be pushed out to everybody. And so once this is pushed out, this would actually be a step that you guys would actually have to add in, or I'll make our team do it. I'll have my team go ahead and add the assigned user to everybody's account so that you guys don't have to do that. But if we wanted to add an assigned user, we would just click the assigned user. From the dropdown, we'd select a specific user that was attached to that account, and we'd have the assigned to user that would populate there. The next step that I'm going to do is go scroll down and look under CRM. We want to add an update opportunity. So what I'm going to do is add into the seller's pipeline and plug this into the lead in. So I'm going to hit save. So now we have the create opportunity section that is there. The next section that we're going to do after we have added that opportunity and added that in. So we have the next thing that we're going to do is actually go ahead and add a contact tag. So as you guys notice, I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked remove contact tag instead of add. So make sure that when you click on this, it does still say add contact tag here. And this is actually going to be seller lead in. And there we go. So seller lead in, and we'll go ahead and hit save. So now we have an opportunity that's created. We have the contact tag that is added. And then we have the appointment bot that is going to work their magic and do their best to get an appointment booked for you. I'm actually going to turn this down so that we can send out a text message within 24 hours of each other and just kind of change the parameters on those first two so that we get more messages out to those individuals. And then this is, of course, is going to be the same way. So we get a lead from listings to leads. We'll go ahead and we'll go to click add a new workflow trigger. And then we will do this based off of Facebook. And then you'll be able to select that particular Facebook form that is coming from in order to do that. So that's well, I'll make sure that these are loaded into everybody's account today, and everybody has the new workflows for the BKA buyer lead in, and also for the year-long email drip, and we'll have the appointment seller booking updated as well. So I'll have those uploaded in probably right after we get done with our live training. Do you guys want me to send an email out to let you know that it's been updated?
Please.
Awesome. So I'll fire an email out to everyone and let you all know that it has been updated as soon as it's done.
Hey, Brian, can I ask a favor?
Yes.
Okay, you just walked us through a very complex process, at least for me, complex, and broke it down. Can you go through it one more time from cradle to grave? Just go through it normally so we can actually see like a full recap of what it looks like. Cause I don't even remember where we started at.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's,
Yeah, so Brian, I think that when you were doing the long-winded showing them all the steps, they might have been confused as to what it is they need to do. So maybe just showing that.
definitely. So all you guys are going to need to do if you're creating your own ads with listings to leads, once you've gone in and you've created that ad, what you'll do is go into workflows or into triggers. So for the first example, I'm going to go directly into workflows. From workflows, you're going to click on the BKA buyer lead in, lead in. I'll change that name. It's just a little weird. And so once you click into that workflow, all you guys are going to have to do is click add new workflow trigger. So it's just this button right here, add new workflow trigger. And then from right here, we're going to select, instead of CRM, Facebook. And then once we've selected Facebook, we'll go ahead and just say lead form submitted, add that filter. Once you've added the filter, we'll say in form, and then we'll click the drop down and we'll select the form that was in. So because this is one of our accounts, we don't have Facebook connected to this particular account because we can only connect Facebook to one of our accounts in the platform. So I can't actually pull a lead form itself, but from this drop down, you'll see all of the names of your lead forms. You'll select a lead form and then you'll just hit save. So that is the only step that you guys are going to have to take on workflows if you are building your own ads in listings to leads, as long as it is a lead generation ad. Now, next week, I'm going to have on Thursday, I'm going to have another trigger that we've built out, because William and I have our team going through and creating all of the zaps for everybody from listings to leads to ROI. So that way, if you have a lead that comes in on a landing page, like if you're using a what's my home worth landing page through listings to leads instead of ours, that way when we have that lead come in, we're going to have a specific tag that's assigned to that lead. And then what we're actually going to do is just go ahead and add triggers in to that workflow based off of that tag coming in, so that it automatically puts that individual in place. So what we're going to use is going to be seller lead in and buyer lead in. So that way, if those tags are attached to either of these, and they came from one of the landing pages from listings to leads, it will automatically launch this campaign. So we go here, tag added. From tag added, I'm going to create that buyer lead in. Oh, it won't let me actually create it from this section. So I'm just going to use the lead in, for example, right now. And then we'll just go ahead and hit save. So that anytime a new lead comes in from listings to leads that is through Zap, because they submitted on a landing page, we'll have a specific tag for those folks. So that way we can get them put into the appropriate campaign. Any questions on workflows or triggers?
No.
And guys, I think Brian misunderstood me ultimately, but workflows will be where most all of this will be done moving forward. I simply wanted to make sure that the MyPlus leads, Zap, the triggers that were built for MyPlus leads, mailbox power and all that is added in. So excuse our miscommunication there, but workflows will be where it is all done moving forward. And yeah, now as far as listings to leads goes, how many of you guys know how to build out your own ad in listings to leads? Does everybody know how to do that?
No.
No? All right, so let's do a quick training on that. I like that. Let's do that.
Heck yeah, Willie, knock it out of the park.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a second here, guys. All right. Who cares if I build out in their account?
Well, you can do mine.
Okay.
Bernard's like, build my ads, buddy. Yeah, let's get you off those roofs and get you some more real estate clients, man.
Yes, definitely, please.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear in 6 months that Bernard quit his job and he's a full-time realtor now.
Up like 3 months.
There we go.
Like 3
Optimism.
months.
Bernard, I do not have your password though.
For to listen to link. Oh my,
If you want to send it to me in,
Just go ahead and share your screen and then give Bernard control to type in his password.
that's
That way nobody says it out loud over the.
yeah, don't say your password out loud.
just, you know what? I would say just go into my screen.
Yeah, if you want, you can just share your screen. Let's just do that.
Yeah, let me move this one over. And go into here. Did it come in?
Not yet. Now click share screen for me. Perfect. There we go.
You got it?
Just popped up. There we
Okay.
go. Okay, and I'm going to request access here.
Where is it? I'm looking for it. Let me move this over. Okay. You are sharing your screen. You should have it. Do you have it?
I've clicked to request remote control access.
Okay, got it. Okay, I got it.
Cool. Awesome. Excuse me. All right, so let's log in. All right, so I think I'll just do a full kind of overview with listings to leads again for you guys, okay? I think that it's good to have another training on that because there are really a lot of cool features in here. And whether you have your own listing or not, it's going to be really beneficial to you. So starting out in the listing section, you can grab a listing. So in here, we can take any listing MLS ID and you can then upload that MLS ID and the zip code, and it's going to pull that listing into the listing section. Now, you can see here that these are Bernard's listings, right? So this is actually tied to the MLS. So it's going to pull in any of your active or old listings since you've signed up with the platform. So you can see right here, we have this status change, right? So we can change the status for what this ad is running or what the listing is, I should say. And dependent on how you change that is what the ad will actually say. So if the ad is considered just listed, let's say you put it as pending, there's now going to be a completely different ad for you when you click to market that listing. So I can click to make this pending. And then when I click market listing, it's then going to create a pending listing that is designed to drive people to a home valuation page instead. So pretty cool. I really like how they did this. They made it so it dynamically updates dependent on that status. So some really cool coding is done in the back end here that a lot of people don't realize. And I think it's really cool personally. But anyways, so you can essentially create different types of ads based off of that status. So that is something to think about. The pending is going to be a home valuation. And just listed is going to be generating buyers. So you can really do some high converting ads there with just those two. Now, let's jump into the market listing section. And you're going to see all of the different things that this auto generates for you. So it auto generates the Facebook ad, the social media posts. Now, if you set up in your profile the auto posting feature, which normally I try to do that for you guys when you sign up during the underneath the auto posting section. When you change your status on those listings, it is also supposed to give you the feature for posting that new status update to your social media profiles. So if you change that listing from active to pending, there will now be the option to post a pending Facebook ad. So you can go to the social media post and then you can post that right here, share listing. So another great way to push your organic sphere and everything. There's also a bunch of other different options in here. Share on your seller's social media. There's e-flyers, the nearby homeowner letters. I think that's pretty cool. And the owners of the company actually told me that that is probably the highest converting thing that they see their users convert with. So pretty cool. I have also been told though that EXP has their own version called Nosy Neighbor. So I'd be interested to see if anybody tests out between the two, what those are like and how they convert compared to each other. I'd love to hear that. You can also generate a YouTube listing video for that listing. So it pretty much generates it off of the photos that are in the MLS itself. Pretty awesome. You guys don't have to do anything. And essentially this is just an entire electronic presentation for you. So a lot of great things that you can show to potential home seller and do for them for your actual clients. Now, let's move into the ads. So you can build a listing ad based off of the statuses of those listings. And then you can also come in and we can create landing page ads. So there's a few different options here: free home values, down payment assistance, new construction. And then under the landing pages section, you can actually create other types of landing pages as well. So there's a ton of different landing page options here. We've got free reports and free HUD report. There's a ton of different options here. So you could essentially create that landing page. And then when you go in the ad section to create a landing page ad, that landing page will be there for you to run the ad to. So you can add to the landing page ad section. And then we also have the PDF report ads. Seems like it's naturally a higher cost per lead, but I still want to see some more ad performance from users to see kind of the quality versus quantity type of situation. In my opinion, this is probably going to be a higher quality intent personally, because you're naturally giving something to somebody and that's better. Next, let's actually create an ad here. So let's just fake building an ad. We're going to create the Curb Appeal 101. So these are nice because they're also custom branded to you with your photos, your information all across the PDF. And you can also change the color scheme on these PDFs as well. And you can change the media in here for any of those PDFs. And then also listed in your profile, you can actually change the color scheme for all of your ads. So that's also cool. They actually have a color scheme for eXp Realty. So I think that's pretty cool. You can color code it to your brokerage. Next, we want to add a location. So you can type in your location. Let's just type in Houston. Houston, Texas. And we have a radius of 15 miles. You can do a lifetime or a daily budget. And then you can choose your start and end schedules. So you could publish this ad, but one of the things that I always like doing is adding the advanced options. And down here in the advanced options, you can then select people living in or recently in this location. And then we have our interests are optional. And this is where I like adding in Zillow. You do have to wait for it to pop up. Takes a little bit of time here. I think it's a little bit slower naturally on Zoom.
Once you start sharing that screen, it takes up a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah. All right.
There we go.
Realtor.com. Homes.com. Julia. Real estate. So those are like the top 5 top of funnel.
Hey,
interest.
so does that pre-qualification lender pop up if you just type in pre-PRE?
They have a whole ton of different interests
Do
that
the
are.
dash. Yeah.
Right here.
So pre-qualification lending. This is a good one that I like to target as well. Because this is going to go after folks that are just getting started and trying to pre-qual for their mortgage or anything along those lines. That is a great interest to add in. And then you could also add in mortgage calculator as well. But this is for seller side though, right? Mortgage
I'm just building an ad in general here.
Awesome. For buyers, these add in that pre-qualification lending and that mortgage calculator. It's going to help you get in front of folks that are really doing some homework and digging into it. And it can help you find a little bit more quality buyer out of the gate.
That's kind
For
of good.
this, for the seller side, you used to be able to target things like Home Depot and stuff like that, but they've removed that from detailed interest targeting, unfortunately. So there's some other unique ways that we can do it on the seller side, but Zillow, Realtor, Homes.com, and Trulia are primarily going to get you home. Zillow does have an agreement with Facebook, so that anybody that's searching on Zillow, if you go ahead and plug that interest in on Facebook when you're creating an ad, you're going to target the folks that are actually shopping for homes right now. Same goes for Trulia, since they are the same company. So go ahead, William.
A lot of data there. Pretty much the top of funnel there for that stuff. So it's great to have those. The rest of this, they do automate pretty well already. So like the call to action, we've tested and learned more is by far the highest performing for that. People don't like things like get offer and stuff like that because they feel like they're signing up for something. And you don't want that when you're trying to capture somebody's information to reach out to them, right? So and then we also have the autoresponder that's set up down here. Again, I don't think that you guys need to touch any of this because you don't want to mess up the autoresponder. You want to make sure that they are being sent that PDF report. And now we are good to publish. So let's publish this and then I'm going to shut it off immediately. But I do want it to create the lead form so that I can go in and select that and show you guys. Just like Brian was showing today. All right, curb appeal 101. So let's shut that off. Oh, that's not what we wanted. That is FSBO website. All right, so now we've done that, and now here's where we are going to go into workflows. And we are going to select whatever workflow that there's going to be a buyer workflow, there's going to be a seller, so I'll just act like we're doing the seller right now. And you will then walk through that same process that Brian showed previously. And we want to make sure we select Facebook and then the lead form submitted. And then it's in the form. And then we want to select that form. Okay, so you select that form and then you click save and it is done. Brian, you are muted.
Where's that form though? Wasn't it curb appeal?
I
Yes, it
think
was.
you cut it off, didn't you?
I got a question.
Did you map the fields
Yeah,
before
you gotta
went
go
into
in,
workflow?
don't you have to go in settings first and go
Yeah.
map?
Out the fields. Yes.
Sorry,
was-
William, we put you on the spot, buddy.
I was just show the new workflows.
Okay,
So the first step would be to map the form fields, and then once the form fields are mapped, then we go into workflows.
Yes, I was just trying to show the new workflows section.
I'll let you be.
All right. Time frame to buy.
What is your purchase time frame? You passed it already. There you go.
So we should probably create fields that are specific to.
Yeah, we're gonna need to add those looking to buy / sell fields in there as well,
Yeah.
because we don't have those listed.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Just leave those ones blank for right now.
Yeah.
I believe we do have a "Are you working with the lender?" question though.
Was this where we would add the questions versus in leads, listening to leads? I know they have questions too.
Yeah, so ultimately the question would have to be done on listings to leads, and we can only use those questions that they have on their form creator. That's all we can work with for now, but we are trying to get them to add extra questions in there for you
all right,
guys.
because they only have like 2 or 3 extra questions on there for listening to leads, so.
Correct.
Yeah, so we have a meeting scheduled with them. We're getting more questions added. It's not that we're trying. We're gonna get it done for you guys.
I don't see working with the lender either.
Okay, just leave that one blank for now then too. And just save.
Well, fields are
So
mapped.
then the next step would be to go into workflows and create the trigger.
Yeah. looks like it's not.
Oh, William, when you were doing that, I didn't see when you're doing in the settings and pull the Facebook lead form. It didn't have the curb appeal. It was actually an address for a house.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I was just
So I don't
going
think that
fast.
form has come through to.
Oh, that's right. Actually, this was a terrible account to do it on. I just realized because Bernard, if you remember, you and I had to create an app because
Right.
not pulling the Facebook forms in your account for some odd reason. The
Mhm.
only account I've seen this on. So thanks for saying that, Robbie. This was a bad account to show the example on, so I apologize.
What's going on with that?
I have integrated and reintegrated his account multiple times. The Facebook form fields mapping is not populating. I've made sure that we've got the correct account connected. It's just not doing it. So let's check listings to leads and check the reflection for that. 6813. 6813 is the one that was selected. It's the right one. So I don't know.
Is it the same Facebook page?
Harris County Lifestyle. Yep. That is the correct one, right, Bernard?
That's the one.
Yep.
That is the weirdest little one-off.
Right. So anyways, guys, that's normally what you would do for all of you. I haven't seen another account that has this issue, so everybody else's is fine and it syncs properly. So any questions? Bear with us while we do these updates. We realize that they're important to your accounts, and we're working hard to get those pushed live.
Hey, I've got a question about that.
Yeah.
When you're in listings to leads and you create that ad, the one you just created, don't you have to create new form?
So it automatically actually creates a new form for that. When you publish the ad live like that,
Uh-huh.
it automatically already creates a new form.
Isn't
No.
there a section that says to create a new form though in listings
You
leads?
can go in there and create a new form if you want.
Yeah, I think you do have to click that create a new form.
I don't think it's, because it gives you, I'm just going through mine, looking at it, and I'm wondering, because I think you have to do that. Can you go back into his listing to leads?
Happy to do so.
Look to see if
I would have been building everybody's ads wrong then, I guess, but
yeah, I don't want to,
it's been working for every client account. So
that's my question. I'm looking at it. I'm just.
Yeah, just go and check
yeah,
that
no,
one.
I'm happy to go in there. Let's see, Bernard, could you approve?
Oh,
the-
okay.
I'm not trying to throw you under the bus.
No. Hey, man, I'm
I
happy.
was looking.
Hopefully I am wrong. But I've done this
What do
for
you mean? Hopefully not.
I've done this for every client account. I've built all your ads in the meantime while we're waiting for.
I'm guessing you could go to the campaign you just created and edit it, can't you?
Let's edit.
Actually, I think the best way to look at it would be to check into his Facebook Business Manager, into his Ads Manager, and just.
There's-
Okay, there it is. Okay, so you said show. Okay, it is in there. Okay.
Yeah, so it auto creates the forms.
All right. Well, you're safe. You're safe.
I'm safe. If it wouldn't have worked that way, then I had a way to
Yeah.
map the fields. So
Cool.
good
That's
thought,
awesome.
though. Good thought. You only get to call me out
I think you
once.
gave William a mini heart attack right there. He didn't want to admit it, but he had a small heart attack.
William's like, William's like, I'm not I'm not helping you anymore, Robbie.
Robbie's out of the program.
You can do it on your own. You know everything.
Just kidding.
No.
All right, so yeah, well, that's why we created a Zap for Bernard. Something's wrong with Bernard, didn't you have your original account is banned or something?
No, my original account is good. I think it was another account I had.
I thought when you and I were doing the onboarding, your original or one of your accounts was banned, right?
Right.
So I think that there's conflict there with our Facebook integration and the CRM ultimately. But the Zap fixes that. So for you, anytime you build a new ad, make sure you reach out to us and I'll make sure we have the Zap done. But everybody else, that's how you do it. Build the ad, map the fields, change the form in the workflow. Okay. And we will send out an email when we do launch the new 2.0. We will be going into your accounts and adjusting everything. So bear with us while that happens. But then moving forward, everything should be seamless. That's part of the reason why we're transitioning everything to the way that it is.
Hey, Will, I had a question.
Yes.
When we have a lead from listening to leads, how many times does it automatically call the lead? Because I had someone that I tried to get hold of yesterday, and then it did it again today, and I think it's a wrong number. It's an invalid number.
Okay.
So,
You're talking how many times does our system try to call them?
correct, because I get the billing number that shows me, and it says that it's trying to contact a certain person. So I just clicked on the opt-out button. Does that stop it? I'm not sure if it just continually does that for people or for the leads.
Let's see. I'm going to jump in your account and let's actually try to see what campaign we have running. I believe we're running the BK buyer lead for you. So again, this will be changed with the update a little bit, right, Brian? How many times it calls?
Yeah, it definitely will. And I'm actually, I'm getting ready to load this into everybody's account right now as we speak, so.
Okay.
I was
I'm
wondering,
in the
because I
background
got
while we're
my
stuff off.
Twilio account, I think for 1 week was like almost $40 for the 1 week. So I'm not sure how much it's supposed to average.
Gotcha. Yeah. So ultimately, it's because you had 720 people from your FSBO canceled expired from my plus leads. So it's because 720 people went through a campaign.
Gotcha. So it wasn't from the listing to leads ad. It was more.
No, yeah. Listings.
Okay.
Yeah, you only had a few leads in I mean, you had some leads in listings to leads, but 720 is a lot from my plus leads. So that's ultimately what it was. And I did shut off the campaigns for you yesterday so that they're not getting hit with text messages. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
A quick one is, how do you search safe word category, safe word leads? Because I was trying to look for leads so I could look at all the ones that I got. It's just in one section. I know you have expired, canceled, and then the ones from listening to leads, I guess it's tagged as lead.
Yeah, so that's also another thing that we're changing.
Okay.
New update.
Yeah.
We're changing the tags. We're pretty much doing a full 2.0. We've learned a lot from you guys and the way that we want our snapshot to perform properly. And pretty much what happened is when we transitioned from the conversion style ads at the very start, which you guys all know of, and transitioned to listings to leads, we then had to rework some stuff. And so it'll be an awesome 2.0 snapshot. I'm really excited.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have the emails been corrected for the email campaigns?
For the FSBO canceled expired, actually all of them have. Yes, I spent probably 2 hours with Kelly going through all of them on Saturday.
Thank
morning.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I did it on a Saturday morning when I had no appointments. So all good.
Charlie, you had 2 bottles left. Can I get the other bottle?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. The formula? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we heard that. Shirley.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was transferring from my iPhone to my computer so I could see the screen. And I didn't realize I didn't mute. So I'm sorry. I hope y'all enjoyed that. But I have a little baby today, about to be a year old. But anyway, so I had to have food for him.
Love it.
Okay, I
Yes,
got a
Joe.
question. Okay, in my contacts, okay, now go in to send them an email. And I want a copy of, like I got a copy of a brochure I want to enter that email. When I open it up, it's nothing that says where I can paste it at.
Let me see what you're saying.
Okay, so I open up my email. I want to send one of my leads an email, but I got an image or something I want to put in that email.
Okay.
And I
Ah,
go to-
yes. Okay.
yes,
so
I-
I
right,
actually-
when I go to paste it, there's nothing there, nowhere for me to paste it.
Yeah, so I actually just was on with Kelly this morning. Which can you guys see my mouse on here?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So I was actually on with Kelly this morning, bright and early, and we were looking at the ability to paste in GIFs. And so let's say you want to send somebody that information right here, you can actually add attachments. So you see
wait, a minute,
that?
I'm not seeing that. No, we're not seeing nothing on your screen here.
Oh, okay. So I guess you can't see the pop-up, but right here, there's the pay-per-click in the email and SMS section. So you can insert/edit and add an image here. You can copy and add a link in here, or you can attach a file right here. So if you want to attach a file, for example, you have a brochure that you have downloaded on your computer, you can actually add the attachment file right there, and that is going to send. You can also do the same thing for SMS. So we were kind of playing around to this morning, and we were able to send number one, a Loom video, and that has a GIF, but we were actually able to send a GIF image, a GIF. I don't know why I said GIF. A GIF image.
Got peanut butter on the brand, man.
Yeah, we were able to send a GIF image over successfully too.
I'm not, okay, let me see something.
So yeah, you just click the pay-per-click there, and you're able to then attach any attachments. So for example, one thing you could do is you could actually download those PDFs. Ooh, this actually might be a cool thing to do.
That's what I was trying to do, download one of the PDFs and put in there.
Yes, so you could download those PDFs. They're custom branded to you. You pay for
Right.
it. You've got your account with Listings to Leads. So download that.
Technically, we pay for it, but
Yes, we do. But they do too, in a way.
yeah, absolutely.
So you could download that PDF. Any higher intent people who are maybe interested in something like that, you actually have a good conversation with them. You could send over any information. Maybe you could even go in and customize your own campaign and make one of the first few messages, ask them if they would like a first-time home buyer PDF, right? And then you could add the next message in the campaign that's based off of positive intent to then trigger and send them a PDF that's custom branded to you. So that's like just a little example of something really cool that you can do. Unfortunately, we can't mass produce that, right? Because we can't go in and download PDFs for you and do all of those steps over and over again for 100 users, but it is there for you guys to be able to do. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yet.
We can't do it yet. We'll get there. Any other questions, guys?
William, can you do me a favor and go spot check a couple of accounts while you're on share screen? I just pushed workflows and everything live.
Okay.
I just pushed an edit live on the workflows with the new contact tags and everything else. So
Okay.
just
Let's
choose a client at random and dive in.
boom. So I see seller workflow, seller appointment booking workflow.
We can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm sharing the wrong one, I guess. Okay. Now can you see the workflow?
Yeah, can you click on the BK buyer lead in for me?
Okay.
And- Okay, so the tag hasn't been added yet. So I just pushed through an update that should have added a tag to those contact tag. So let's jump into another account. And let me see what the first account that updates is when we push these live.
Put the BK buy lead in.
Correct.
Yes, so
Yeah, I'm
buyer
happy.
lead in.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in my account now.
Awesome. So I did do an update on the on these though, because I did send these over in draft. So I actually added them in as published is the newest push that I did. So they would all be published for you guys. But I also added in a contact tag into the workflow. So I'm just trying to see if the workflow updates after we update the workflow and push it live.
Right, because mine's showing still in draft. Okay.
And let me see on here. So I do have that contact tag that's added to mine. And so it does take a little bit of time. Can we start with Angela Lewis's account? William?
Yeah. Angela, do you mind if we jump into your account?
Let's see.
Or is she not here anymore?
It's okay. Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, she's the first on the list, so I think she gets the update push live first. So let's see if that buyer lead in. It's got the cool name on it. Condo. No, so I'll have to actually go through and manually add that contact tag in on everybody's. Bummer, but no big deal. I'll get it done. So everybody has the workflows loaded in now. And so there's a couple steps on these workflows that we're going to go through and we're going to knock out for you. If you click on that BK buyer lead in though, William.
Yeah.
So we can't push this through where it automatically adds a user. If I were to create a particular user and I push it through, since all of these accounts are somewhat connected, like nobody's ever going to be able to see your data and what's going on in your account. But for backend purposes, if I say assign Kelly Wheeler as the assigned user and then push this live to everyone, those leads will assign in your system to Kelly Wheeler. So that's not cool. So we're going to add we're actually going to go in and add that step as the very first step. So if you scroll up to the top, William, and click on the very first plus, what we're going to do is just go in and go to assign to user. And from the drop down, we'll select the user and then hit save. So we'll have this all updated for you guys. So I will be sending out an email. It's just going to be to let you guys know that I've got the assigned user and the contact tag as a trigger that is set up in here. So that way, if we have any leads that come in from listings to leads on the buyer side, we're going to use buyer lead in for the tag that's going to trigger this workflow or this follow-up campaign. And then on the seller side, we're going to have seller lead in that is going to trigger that workflow. So make life easy for y'all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Brian and I are going to jump into finishing all of this and spot checking accounts. Okay. So thanks for joining us
Hold
today.
on, Brian, can you look at the chat right quick?
Oh, let me check. Caps. Oh, so the capital is the C and the M.
Oh, and the M. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, you guys.
Oh,
Thanks.
and D, your ad's gonna be going live soon. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
C and M.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
Good evening, everybody.
Thanks for your hard work, guys.
Thank you.
Forgive me, William.
No, you're good, buddy. No, honestly,
Robbie, keep it up. I appreciate it, man. It's fun.
test us. Keep going. I like
Keep
it.
pushing his buttons too.